We have on the phone a friend who is a gambling addict in recovery. Now, this is something that's very difficult for her to do, to talk about her past experiences, the consequences that have been brought to her as a result of her gambling addiction. And she's not going to use her real name. We're going to call her Carol, but that's not her real name because of she's just not ready to share this with everybody. But nevertheless, she's going to tell you her story. And this is really important because as we think about a casino coming to Bristol, Virginia, you need to understand the ABCs of gambling. And the number one, A, is for addiction. We're going to have more gambling addicts, more bankruptcy, more crime and corruption. Carol, so you have struggled with gambling addiction. Is that right?
That's correct. For quite a few years.
Tell us how you got started with getting involved in gambling and what that involved.
It was real simple. About 20 years ago, my fiance, every year for my birthday, I would want to go to the casino. That was my birthday present. And we would go to the casino. We would spend the day, bet on a couple horses, play the slot. Then it got to where it went from once a year to 3 or 4 times a year. Then it went to every month. Then it went to a couple times a month. And that's where I was going by myself because he wouldn't go. I would go and he wouldn't know anything about it. And I got into playing poker at the casino, along with the slots. And then it got to where I would join the private club because they had the machine, they had the slot machine, they had pull tabs, anything that I could gamble. I went from having a nice home, very nice home, having nice vehicles, money in the bank, to where I would sell things just to get money. Then it got to where I would go to the clubs. If I couldn't go to the casino, I would go to the club. And I would sit from the time they opened until the time they closed. And yes, I won. I won big. And that's how the casinos get you sucked in. They know your spending habits. That's why they give you these cards to put in the machines, because they learn your spending habits. They learn, what you do and what you don't do. So they let you win. They let you win. They let you win a couple times big, and then you start instead of putting in 20, you start putting in $100 bills. And you will spend $20,000-$30,000, and all of a sudden you might hit $4,000 or $5,000. So it's like, oh boy, if I put in another $20,000 or $30,000, I might hit more. And it just sucks you in to where that's all you think about. That's all you want to do. You don't think about anything else.
Now, you weren't a wealthy person, so I'm assuming you're spending life savings, you're spending equity in your house and that sort of stuff. Is that right?
I spent everything. I mean, I got down to where I had nothing. I got down to where, and I'm ashamed of the things that I did just to get money to gamble. I mean, I lied. I lied to my family. I lied to my friends. I would make up excuses, anything just to get money to gamble with.
Tell us what that's like, because it's hard for us to grasp the seriousness of this What did you get out of that experience of gambling? What was it like?
Well, it gets to the point. At first, you gamble for the money. You know, it's the money. You know, the thrill of winning. And then it got to where it wasn't about the money anymore. It was just the need, the deep need to actually gamble. You know, you didn't think about the money you were losing. You didn't think about the money you were winning. It was just that need. It was that, I mean, it was like it just took over my whole life. I mean, that's all I ever wanted to do.
It sounds like a drug addiction. It's very similar to a drug addiction, that
it is.
That overwhelming craving.
I've never done drugs. I've never, you know, had an alcohol problem. I don't know what that's like, but yes, it has to be like that. It's like you can't wait to get that next fix, and that next fix for me was gambling. And it got to where it didn't matter what kind of gambling it was, as long as it was gambling. Mm. And it started by just a simple one-time-a-year visit to a casino.
Let me ask you this, and we haven't talked about this, so I don't really even know how you're going to answer this. But so you mentioned the fact they know your gambling habits, and this was something that I'm just learning about that I think is amazing. Is they give you these little cards with a magnetic strip or probably a computer chip now, where they actually track you. You put that into the slot machine. How did they treat you? I mean, were you just another customer, or?
Oh no, oh no. In casinos, all your drinks are free. They have cocktail waitresses that walk around, and anything you want to drink is free. So you don't have to get up from those machines to go get something to drink. Mm. You know, all your drinks are free. Alcoholic drinks, coffee, sodas, tea, whatever, it's free. Mm-hmm. Then after you start coming regularly, they will give you free night stays at their hotel, or their motel. Mm. Then they comp your meals, they comp your room. They will even comp you money to play with. Anything to keep you coming back.
So let me just recap. So they end up, once they know you and they know your gambling habits, free meals, free room, and even give you some money in advance for gambling.
Right. Correct.
And so this is not just, you know, a business out there where, you know, the thought occurred to me the other night. I was thinking about this. If a bar did this and they preyed upon people that were alcoholics, I think there would be a major uproar in our community. Matter of fact, I believe if a bartender serves somebody that they know is at a certain level of intoxication, I believe that bartender will get in a lot of trouble for that. But at these casinos, they want you to keep on gambling.
Yes, that's the point. They just want you to keep on gambling. Anything, like I say, the cocktail waitresses are there to where, you know, and drinking and gambling go together. I don't care who says it doesn't. It does. I have never been a big alcohol drinker, but when I gambled, I was, because it was there, it was accessible. I mean, they were coming around, constantly, giving you drinks, putting drinks in your hand because they didn't want you, and it was funny because I would watch the people that weren't putting a lot of money in the machine or that weren't betting a lot. Cocktail waitresses didn't go around them that much. But people that were really feeding money into the machine, they were there all the time. I mean, every time you turn around, they were there.
Trying to keep you at that machine.
Right, trying to keep you there. And they, like I say, will do anything. Like I say, the comp rooms, the comp meals, anything to keep you there. And that is what those cards are for. Now, you can gamble without the card. You don't have to get a card. But they tell you to get it because every time you put it in the machine, you get points. You know.
Mm-hmm.
But that's how they track your spending, is with the card. And every month or every couple months, they have these, you know, these sweepstakes to where you can win cars and boats and these huge trips. And they draw you in with that because the more points you have, the more entries you have to those sweepstakes.
Now, did they ever call you at home?
Oh, I would get calls. I would get cards to where, you know, for comp meals or, you know, or comp. If I didn't show up, it got to where if I didn't show up for a month, I was getting all kind of comp meals, cards in the mail for comp meals and comp rooms.
So they're just trying to reel you back in, and because of the fact they were tracking your gambling, they had to know the massive losses that you had, but yet they're trying to reel you back into the casino. That's an amazing...
They don't care. They don't care. They don't care if you're spending every penny that you have and you're out here stealing or whatever to get the next $100 to stick in that machine. They don't care.
Yeah.
You know, and it took me quite a few years to understand that. But by the time I had understood it, I had lost everything. I got to writing bad checks just to get money to gamble, and I spent 3 years of my life in prison for bad checks. And it all started with a simple one-time-a-year visit to a casino.
Well, I know you, and you're working to rebuild your life right now. But I know it's cost you a lot, hasn't it?
It's cost me almost everything. But thank God, I've got God, and I've got my family. What's left of my family that will still talk to me. But people don't realize what it costs, the cost that it takes, the cost that you pay, and it's not worth it. Believe me, it's not worth it.
You have done a wonderful job, but let me just ask you this. If there's somebody that's on the fence, they're thinking that, well, maybe it's not such a bad thing to vote in favor of this casino. What would you say to that person?
If they could walk a day in my shoes, they would see it's not. I mean, if I can, I'm doing this because if I can just help one person not to have to go through what I've gone through and what I'm going through and still will probably go through for the rest of my life. I am a addict. I'm a gambling addict. I will always be an addict. And I know if I just gamble one time, it'll all start back over again. It's a fight that I fight every day of my life. It's a hard fight.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I know I know it's difficult, but I know it's appreciated as well. And perhaps there's somebody listening that will take to heart the things that you've said. Anything else that you think ought to be said?
Please don't let a casino come to Bristol, because it's not only... I do want to say this. The casino that I went to, it's in a town in West Virginia. And it was such a booming little town before the casino came in. And now it's just a town with a casino. All the little businesses have closed up, all the little shops, all the little restaurants. Bristol thinks that, all these little places in Bristol think it's going to help their business. People that are at that casino gambling, they're not going to leave there to come to your restaurant to eat. That casino's going to keep them there to eat. They're not going to come to your motels to stay. They're going to stay there. It's not going to help Bristol's little businesses. Bristol is going to die just like this little town in West Virginia died.
Well, there's a lot of wisdom there. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. God bless you. And we'll just keep praying that others can avoid the pitfalls that you found. Thank you. Thank you much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.